The emergency session of the Galactic Council had lasted 14 hours when the final casualty report arrived. The numbers appeared above the chamber in glowing red letters. 9 billion infected. 130 worlds under quarantine. 21 species facing extinction. No cure. No treatment. No solution. The Black Breath had become the greatest disaster in recorded galactic history. Entire civilizations were collapsing. Trade routes were empty. Fleets sat abandoned in orbit around dead worlds. Even the mighty Galactic Alliance, which had survived wars, rebellions, and cosmic disasters, was beginning to fracture under the pressure. Silence filled the chamber. Then the doors opened. A human walked inside. Dr. Ethan Carter, Earth Medical Corps. Several delegates immediately recognized him. Humans had earned a reputation across the stars for doing impossible things. Unfortunately, most of those impossible things involved explosions, wars, or reckless exploration. Nobody expected a human to solve a medical crisis that had defeated the greatest scientific minds in existence. Counselor Vrex narrowed his eyes. Dr. Carter, why are you here? Ethan placed a small data pad on the table. I heard you have a plague problem. The room erupted with angry voices. A plague problem? Entire worlds are dying. We have lost billions. Ethan waited patiently. Eventually, the noise died down. Then he smiled. Not the smile of a fool. Not the smile of a man pretending to be brave. The smile of someone who had already made up his mind. I'd like permission to enter Ground Zero. The chamber became silent again. Ground Zero. The first infected world. The birthplace of the Black Breath. No one had set foot there in 8 months. Every scientist sent there had died. Every military team sent there had died. Every rescue operation had failed. The planet itself had become a symbol of hopelessness. You'll be dead within hours, Counselor Thal said. Maybe. Then why go? Ethan shrugged. Because people are still alive down there. The council stared at him. Millions across the galaxy watched the meeting live. Nobody understood. Not even the humans watching from Earth. The mission was approved only because nobody believed it mattered. 3 hours later, Ethan's ship crossed the quarantine line. Billions watched. Millions placed bets on how long he would survive. Most predictions ranged between 20 minutes and 6 hours. The Black Breath never spared anyone. Never. As Ground Zero appeared through the cockpit window, Ethan studied the planet carefully. Dark clouds covered entire continents. Cities lay silent. Emergency broadcasts still echoed from communication satellites. Most of the population was dead. The rest were dying. His ship descended through toxic skies and landed beside the ruins of what had once been the largest city on the planet. Warning alarms screamed immediately. Pathogen density exceeded every measurable limit. The infection wasn't simply present. It had completely overwhelmed the biosphere. Ethan opened the airlock. Every viewer expected hesitation. Instead, he grabbed his medical bag and stepped outside. The city looked like a graveyard. Abandoned vehicles filled the streets. Buildings stood empty. Broken holographic advertisements flickered weakly in the darkness. Somewhere in the distance, something screamed. Not an animal. A patient. A suffering voice. Ethan followed it. Minutes later, he found the source. An infected alien lay against a collapsed wall. Black veins spread across its skin. Blood leaked from its eyes. Its breathing sounded wet and painful. The creature stared at him in disbelief. A healthy person, standing in front of it. On Ground Zero. The alien's voice trembled. Why are you here? Ethan knelt beside it. Medical appointment. The alien blinked. Even dying, it looked confused. There is no cure. Maybe. You'll die too. Ethan opened his medical scanner. We'll worry about that later. The scanner completed its analysis. For months, entire laboratories had searched for answers. Ethan found something interesting within 30 seconds. His eyes narrowed. Huh. The alien looked at him. What? Ethan smiled. That's strange. Orbiting satellites transmitted everything live. Scientists across the galaxy leaned toward their screens. What did he find? Someone whispered. Ethan didn't answer immediately. Instead, he collected tissue samples, blood samples, air samples. Then he stood. The smile on his face grew wider. For the first time in months, genuine hope appeared in his eyes. The pathogen wasn't behaving like a virus. It wasn't behaving like bacteria. It wasn't behaving like anything known to galactic science. That was the problem. Every civilization had tried to fight it using advanced technology. Nanomachines, quantum medicine, genetic rewriting, artificial immune systems. They had assumed complexity required complexity. Humans had learned a different lesson long ago. Sometimes the answer was simple. Painfully simple. Ethan spent the next 12 hours exploring the city. Every new sample confirmed his suspicion. Scientists watching from orbit became increasingly confused. He wasn't acting like a man searching for a cure. He was acting like a detective investigating a crime scene. Eventually, he entered an abandoned hospital. Thousands of infected patients remained inside. Most were barely alive. Some had fallen unconscious. Others simply waited for death. When Ethan walked through the doors, hundreds of eyes turned toward him. One healthy human, walking calmly among the dying. An elderly alien laughed weakly. "Are you insane?" "Probably." "Then you're in the right place." Ethan began examining patients. Hour after hour, patient after patient. The pattern became impossible to ignore. The disease wasn't attacking everyone equally. Some victims deteriorated rapidly. Others survived much longer. A few seemed oddly resistant. Not immune, but resistant. That difference mattered. Very much. By the third day, Ethan had established a small laboratory inside the hospital. Meanwhile, the galaxy waited. Many assumed he would soon die. Others believed he had already gone insane. The infection should have killed him by now. Instead, he appeared healthier than ever. On the fourth day, he contacted the Galactic Council. The emergency transmission immediately became the most watched broadcast in history. Counselor Vrex appeared on screen. "Dr. Carter, are you still alive?" Ethan grinned. "Apparently. Have you found anything?" "Yes." The entire galaxy held its breath. Ethan leaned closer to the camera. "You've all been fighting the wrong enemy." Silence followed. "What does that mean?" Rex asked. "The black breath isn't the disease." Nobody understood. Scientists exchanged confused looks. Ethan continued. "The pathogen is only a symptom." Now, everyone was confused. "Explain." Ethan displayed several scans. The organism entering the body isn't killing people directly. It's triggering a catastrophic immune response. Victims aren't dying from infection. They're dying because their own bodies are destroying themselves. The chamber erupted. Thousands of experts immediately reviewed the data. Minutes passed. Then disbelief turned into shock. The human was right. 8 months. Thousands of laboratories. The greatest minds in the galaxy. And nobody had noticed. Because everyone assumed the advanced answer must be correct. Humans, however, had centuries of experience fighting diseases while possessing far less technology. They often looked for simple explanations first. Ethan wasn't finished. "I've also identified why some patients survive longer." The room fell silent. A second set of scans appeared. Certain environmental microorganisms suppress the immune reaction. Counselor Thel blinked. "You mean?" "The cure has been sitting on ground zero the entire time." For several seconds, nobody spoke. Then the galaxy exploded. Scientists rushed to verify his findings. Medical teams worked without sleep. Within hours, independent laboratories confirmed everything. Ethan Carter had solved the mystery. But solving the mystery wasn't enough. A cure still needed testing. And there was only one person available. The human doctor smiled when volunteers were requested. "Guess that's me." Hours later, he injected the experimental treatment into an infected patient. The galaxy watched. The patient's condition stabilized. Black veins stopped spreading. Internal damage halted. For the first time in 8 months, the disease stopped advancing. People began crying. Entire world celebrated. But Ethan wasn't done. He administered the treatment to 10 more patients. Then 100. Then 1,000. Every result was identical. Recovery, recovery, recovery. Recovery. Within 2 weeks, production facilities across the galaxy were manufacturing the cure. Within 2 months, infection rates collapsed. Within 6 months, the Black Breath had effectively disappeared. Civilizations that had stood on the edge of extinction survived. Billions lived who otherwise would have died. The greatest plague in galactic history was over. The Galactic Council later organized the largest celebration ever held. Representatives from hundreds of species attended. Monuments were built. Medals were prepared. Entire worlds wanted to honor the human doctor who had saved them. When Ethan finally arrived, the crowd erupted into applause. Counselor Vrex stepped forward. "Dr. Carter, you saved the galaxy. How did you know where everyone else failed?" Ethan thought for a moment. Then he laughed. It wasn't intelligence. The crowd became quiet. What was it then? Ethan looked around the massive hall. At the survivors. At the families reunited because of the cure. At the civilizations that still existed because someone had refused to give up. Then he smiled. The same smile he had worn when entering Ground Zero. "My species spent thousands of years fighting diseases with almost no technology. We lost billions. We made mistakes. We learned. Most importantly, we learned that no matter how impossible something looks, you never stop looking for answers while people are still alive." The hall remained silent. Ethan continued. "Everyone else saw a dead world. I saw patience. Everyone else saw an unbeatable plague. I saw a problem, and problems can be solved." Years later, children across the galaxy would learn about the Black Breath in school. They would study the billions who died, the worlds that nearly vanished, the civilizations that almost collapsed. But one detail appeared in every textbook. One fact nobody ever forgot. When the deadliest plague in galactic history appeared, the galaxy's greatest experts gave up hope. Then a human doctor entered the most contaminated place in existence, carrying nothing but a medical bag and a stubborn refusal to quit. And somehow, he came back smiling.